guys, welcome to my brand new YouTube channel. So my name is Laura, and this channel is basically going to be my fertility journey. It's going to be very raw, nothing special here. I'm not going to go crazy on editing or any of that stuff. My hopes with this is to educate, make it so that women that struggle with fertility issues don't have to feel so scared. If anyone has any questions, I would love to answer them. Again, I am pretty new to all of this. I've known about my fertility issues for a few years now. So basically, I got pregnant about 2 years ago, and it was the happiest day of my life. Went to the doctor's office. They couldn't locate the sac. They figured, maybe my timing was off. Turns out it was an ectopic pregnancy, which an ectopic pregnancy is basically when the baby is growing in your fallopian tube, where it's not supposed to be. There is nothing that they can do to save the pregnancy. It's either a choice of taking a pill, which will basically make you miscarry, or they can do a surgery. In my case, I was pretty far along and my tube was about to burst, so they decided to go ahead and do the surgery. It changed my life. I'm a different person from it. It was so heartbreaking, and I still grieve about it to this day. So anyways, while they were in there, they were not able to save the tube, so they did remove my left fallopian tube. But I do still have my right tube. While they were in there, they also located a very large cyst on my right side. They removed the cyst, and they also gave me a little bit of information that was really heartbreaking. Basically, when I went to my follow-up appointment with the surgeon, he informed me that he needed to refer me to a fertility specialist. It is not impossible to get pregnant with one fallopian tube, but with my one fallopian tube, it is impossible. So inside your fallopian tube, I'm sorry, I don't know all the correct terms, but inside your fallopian tubes, there are these little finger-like fibers that basically help to guide the egg where it needs to go. The inside of my fallopian tube is, what is the word they used? Blunted? I think that's what it was called. Basically, the doctor described it to me as a healthy fallopian tube has fingers that go like this. Mine, he said, looked like dumbbells, just like this. So basically useless. If I were to get pregnant, it would result in another ectopic pregnancy. So at that point, it was time to see a fertility specialist if I wanted to have a baby, which of course I want to have a baby. Sorry about my phone. I am totally doing this the cheap way and on my phone. Anyways, well, at that time, the doctor asked me, what do you have for insurance, man? I said, Mass Health. He said, oh, wow. Yeah, Mass Health does not cover anything fertility-wise, so you'll have to pay out of pocket. I said, okay, doc. I said, what do you think it's going to cost me for a round of IVF? Roughly $20,000, ma'am. $20,000. I don't have $20,000 lying around. So at that point, my world was shattered. I thought my chances of having children was over. I'm sorry, I don't want to get emotional here. So I thought my chances were done. I didn't have $20,000 lying around. So at that point, I tried looking into grants and loans and, just the whole 9 yards. No success. Well, my husband and I got married a year ago, and we've been together a little over 7 years now. He's a great man. My dog might end up coming in the video. Of course he is. But anyways, so we started doing a little bit of research. In my research, I found out that Starbucks. Yes, Starbucks. Starbucks actually has wonderful insurance that they provide to their employees. They provide it to employees who work 20 hours or more a week. That's how you maintain your benefits. After working there for about 3 months, I was sent a package to basically choose my insurance. It kicks in around the 5th month of working there. Hi, babies. So I ended up choosing the most expensive plan they offered. I chose Blue Cross Blue Shield Platinum. It is costing me roughly $700 a month out of my paycheck. It's a lot of money, huh, Bubbas? But it's all worth it to me in the end. I now have fertility coverage. I have now started my preliminary testing. I am seeing an amazing doctor. And like I said, the whole process has kind of just begun. I would just love for everyone to tune in and kind of, like I said, get knowledge, answer questions. If you have any, ask me all the questions in the world. Hi, babies. Can I do what I'm doing? Like I said, ask me questions. This is something I'm not ashamed of. It's not my fault. And there are a lot of women that go through similar things and they're ashamed of it. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It's life. If you have questions, like I said, ask me. I am going to end this part of the video, and I will be back with some more info. All right. So I have some information I'd like to share here. So let's explain the process. So the first process was obviously, was obviously making a phone call. So I did a bunch of research and I found an amazing fertility clinic. It is actually called Boston IVF, but I am specifically going to a specific doctor. His name is Dr. Vito Cardoni, and he is out of Stoneham, Massachusetts. He's great. So the very first step was calling them, and with my insurance, I did not need a referral, which was great. So first step, I went to an appointment. I met with a amazing nurse practitioner, Caroline Lesser, and she was great. So basically, I sat down with my husband. We asked a whole bunch of questions. Every question in the world you could imagine. What's the process? How long does it normally take? Let's say everything goes great. How long till I'm hopefully pregnant? They answered all my questions. So at that point, it was now time to wait for my period to come. So the way that everything works is based upon your cycle. So basically, I was instructed to wait until my period arrived. And as soon as it arrived, I was to call the nurses and they would get the ball rolling for me. So the way that it works is day 1 of your period, they call that CD1, cycle day 1. The second day is CD2, and so on. So first things first, I call the nurse and I tell her, okay, my cycle has begun. She says, okay, here's a part some people might not want to hear. Is it a full flow? Yes, it is. Okay, so we need to get you in for some blood work. So look at me with my paper. My first thing I had done was on CD2, so cycle day 2. I had to go in. I had some fasting blood work done. So I went in for blood work, and I also went in for an internal ultrasound. Yeah. While I was on my period, guys. It's gross, but it is what it is. So had the internal ultrasound done. I'm pretty sure that what they were looking for at that point is my eggs. They're looking at my lining. They're looking at, whatever these medical things they're looking at. So I had that done. Appointment done. Bam. So I had that done. Next one. We have another cycle day that I need to come back in. Got to have more blood work done. Fasting blood work. So I did that again. The next point was my husband. My husband needed to go in, obviously, and give a semen analysis. Can we just talk about that for a second? So they hand him this little brown bag because he's definitely not comfortable doing it there. So they give him a brown bag, and at that point, he has to collect his own sample, then keep it at body temperature. So he had to, we drove all the way to the fertility clinic with his sample under his armpit at room temperature. It was kind of funny. So anyway, you get to the clinic, we handed them his semen analysis. My husband also had to have blood work done for infectious diseases and whatnot. My husband is not the issue here. The issue is with me. Clearly, they still need to check his sperm count, his mobility, whatever those fancy words are. So he did that. Next part was they need to see what's going on with my remaining tube. So they scheduled me for a HSG test. Scariest day of my life. I was petrified. Basically what they do, you're wide awake. You go and it's at an ultrasound, an imaging place. So you go in and basically they described it as being similar to a pap smear tool. So it was a metal tool that basically opens you. And they inserted a catheter into my fallopian tube and inflated a balloon. I'm wide awake here for this whole thing, not sedated, nothing. So they, put the catheter in, inserted the balloon. At this point now, they injected a dye in through that catheter. And basically the whole purpose of it is to see if there's any blockage in my tubes. To see if they're watching on an ultrasound machine at this time. And basically they're checking to see if that dye is flowing through my tube in a normal woman to see if it was flowing through both their tubes. And then it basically goes into a reserve, which is your body. Everything was fine. I had no blockage. Everything went great with that. It was extremely painful. It's not something I'm going to lie about. It hurt. But this is all for a bigger picture for me. I'll go through it all for a child. This is my dream to be a mother. So anyways, had the HSG test done. What was next? Next, actually just yesterday, I went and I had some more blood work done. This time it was to check my progesterone level. I got a phone call from the nurse yesterday afternoon who told me that my level looked great. I ovulate on my own. And the next step is to see the doctor and he will give me a game plan. That phone call was amazing to me because basically I'm on the right path. Ovulating is huge, obviously, when it comes to fertility. So I meet with the doctor tomorrow at 3:15 in the afternoon. My husband will be leaving work as well. I have a lot of stuff I got to give to this doctor, so this is going to be all the paperwork, my surgical report and everything. This is from when I had my fallopian tube removed. I also have this little lovely CD, which is going to be, this is from when I had the HSG test done, so the doctor can take a look and see that there was no blockage in my tubes. Tomorrow, obviously, I'm going to know a lot more. Like I said, right now, all I have been doing is preliminary testing, and it has been hell. But like I said, it's all worth it. And my biggest thing here, my literal biggest thing here, is I cannot thank Starbucks. Starbucks, guys. I can't thank them enough, because without Starbucks, none of this would have been possible. I would never be able to afford these things. My husband, I did not put him on my insurance because, like I said, I'm already paying roughly $700 a month for the insurance just for myself. And he has his own insurance, so that, it wasn't necessary to add him. But because he doesn't have the good insurance, he had to pay $255 just for a semen analysis. There's nothing cheap about the medical industry, about fertility. The insurance is huge, and like I said, without Starbucks, none of this would have been possible. So yes, I guess what's next is going to be my appointment with that doctor tomorrow. I will also find out whether or not they want to remove my remaining fallopian tube. They are a tidbit worried because I have got infections in my tube before in the past. They're worried that I could get an infection after they implant the embryo into me. And that the infection could affect implantation and entail make me lose the pregnancy. So basically the doctor is going to determine whether or not he wants to tie my remaining tube and burn it so that no fluid could rise out of it, or if he wants to take it out altogether. I'm honestly not a fan of either option because that requires surgery, and surgery requires recovery, and I'm just really not into it. Obviously, I will do what I have to do. I already have scars on my body from when I had my fallopian tube removed as well as when I had the cyst removed. So what's another scar? But that's basically it. I'm sorry that I'm so awkward. I've never done anything like this before. Like I said, I really want to help other women. I want to create some awareness. And I just want people to know that, it's okay. And if you're struggling, you know, that's okay too. This is a huge emotional journey. And like I said, if you have any questions or anything like that, please, please, please feel free to reach out to me. And I will be back with an update, I guess, after my appointment tomorrow. All right, guys.